Hello for the 13th Sunday of Ordinary Time, using the first reading Book of Wisdom and the Gospel of Mark. In the Book of Wisdom it says, God did not make death, nor does he rejoice in the destruction of the living. That's sort of the theme. Death. God didn't make it. You know, we have just witnessed this week the sentencings of the Boston young man, Sarnia, 21-year-old, to death. And we also have witnessed the Charleston and the murders of those poor black people at a Bible study. Do you think God rejoices over all this? Exactly no. God did not make death, nor does he rejoice in the destruction of the living. Well, where does death come from? Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people say it came from Eve or Adam and Eve. Blame them in the book of Genesis. Well, really, death came from the good angels, and some of them became bad angels or devils. Blame it on the devil. And then death comes from individuals like the Boston bomber, or the death in Charleston, another 22-year-old. That's where it comes from. Or just blame it on bad people. Or blame it on nature. It's the way of things. Or, in the Catholic Church, it's because of original sin. Blame it on original sin. Well, I can't give you a real good, clear-cut explanation of where evil and death comes from. But I can tell you one thing for sure, and that is, don't blame it on God. Which sometimes, or very often, we do. Whether a mother loses her firstborn, blaming God, or that's the way we are, it's the way God made us, blaming God. Well, you can't blame God. That's what it says. I can't give you an explanation of the mystery of evil, but I think in today's gospel there's two things where we can get some help. And that is through Jesus. And through those two miraculous situations in the gospel. Jesus doesn't rejoice in suffering and sickness. I'll take the woman, the first example in the gospel. The woman who has bleeding problems, hemorrhages, for the last 12 years. She spent all her money in trying to get it cured, and it didn't, and wasn't. And she has one last faith and one last hope in Jesus. If I just touch his clothing or his garment, I'll be cured. He can. And by golly, he did. And in that crowd of people pressing on him, and somebody touches his clothing, and who touched me? And the apostle said, are you kidding? There's plenty of people around here pressing and you say, who touched me? Yes. And he cures the woman. Jesus is interested and takes joy in curing diseases, not causing them. Don't blame Jesus. And then in the gospel, Jairus, the synagogue official, educated, good job. And his daughter's dying. And he asked Jesus to come and cure her because he believed in the help of Jesus. And Jesus said, okay, he would, and planned on it, and did. But before he got there, she died. He still goes. And all the wailing over the death, and Jesus said, well, she's asleep. No, she died. And he goes and he says, little girl, I say to you, arise. And bingo, she comes back to life again. So Jesus comes to cure diseases and to cure and do away with death. Don't blame God or don't blame Jesus. He is the help. Well, that's what we really believe. In the long run, death and diseases will be cured or eradicated in the long run. So the good news is, yes, there will be an end. And we have to do our part in bringing about that finalization of the kingdom of God. But there will be, in the end, the eradication of both of these through Jesus and through God. Well, I guess I still have to give you the bad news. It's pretty simple. Not yet. Not now. And we have to do our eensy-teensy little piece or part of bringing that about. So, we keep our nose to the grindstone. We keep our hearts and our minds close to Jesus Christ and His promises, and we believe. And we do the best we possibly can in these years that we are on planet Earth until the coming and the fulfillment of the kingdom of God. So, if you can get anything out of this, I would say, don't blame God. You can blame all those other listings of the first parents and the devil and so forth, but don't blame God. God is only a God of love and joy and peace. Have a good day.